Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on the time you see us. My name is DINIS, and I'm the spokesperson for the Anamola party. I'm here to deliver the press release for our first Anamola National Council. As you may know, it took place over the last 3 days, September 20th, 21, and 22, 2025. The first meeting is supposed to take place. Sorry, it should happen annually. It's the meeting that precedes the agreements, which are called congresses in business terminology. This meeting, the first National Council, was structured in 3 parts, divided over these 3 days, and focused on 2 specific aspects. The first was the official launch of the Anamola party. As you may know, it's been approximately 40 days since the party was approved, and in less than a week, we held our first executive committee meeting, where this first National Council was scheduled. Well, we didn't have the opportunity to hold the official launch due to the executive committee's proximity, so we chose the same city of Beira to hold this medical event. So, on the 21 stone, in the manga area or the next level crossing, we held the launch of the Anamola party, a very well attended event, with a population of Beira joining in en masse. That's it. After this event, which ended with a large march from the manga area to the city center, we held the first National Council on the 21st and 22nd, which had its highlight, the approval of our legal instruments. Our legal instruments represent, within the universe of political parties, the greatest innovation ever seen, because we have a legislative package comprising 10 legal instruments. Therefore, it's the largest, so to speak, collection of legal instruments, which attests that this is the party established to operate in the Mozambican state as a true party that understands the Mozambican state as a democratic state governed by the rule of law. So, just to give you an idea, in addition to the bylaws that regulate the various sessions, we approved some quite innovative instruments, which we've never seen in other parties. For example, we have a disciplinary regulation that identifies the types of infractions and their combinations. We have another regulation that is also truly innovative, although some parties have them, but it determines what the elections are, for example, of leadership positions. So, just to give you an idea, the various parties in Mozambique have faced several difficulties in the elections of their governing bodies, of leadership positions, and we introduced a legislative package that, in principle, resolves all these issues. Therefore, after the approval of these packages or the legislative package, we moved on to the ratification of the various entities and bodies within the party, having also ratified the position of General Secretary to the various boards. And the other major highlight of this session was the presentation of our report and accounts, So much so that there had been talk that the Anamola party should do things differently, as advised. One of the highlights of this event was the presentation of our report and accounts, which I will briefly say. We had an initial budget for this event of approximately 4.5 million. However, the budget was later adjusted to 5.6 million, in a situation where donations reached only 4.5 million, resulting in a deficit of approximately 1.01 million. So, these are bills related to various expenses. Accommodation, about 1,400, which is related to transportation, 1,962, the organization of the event itself, 1,300, almost 1,400. Communications, about 290,000 medicas. Infrastructure, 259,000 medicas. For example, the cultural sector also accounted for about 48,000 medicas. Well, this is the universe of bills we had, but even with tight budgets, we humbly announce that we have withdrawn from this event. So, after 45 days of operation, the party is already presenting an accounting report. And for this event, which took place with the great support of the Mozambican people, we entered with a deficit of 1,000 medicas. This means that at this point, we must negotiate with the various entities that provided us with services or goods for a payment. So, this was one of the great moments of our first National Council. The other highlight is that this is the fastest growing, most innovative party. Besides the fact that we've already announced the launch of the membership platform, and this time, in less than 45 days, we've already held 2 statutory meetings, we've also deliberated on the agreement, what's known as a congress. So, our agreement is already set. The first National Anamola Agreement is already scheduled for June 20th, 21 Street, and 22nd, 2026, and will take place in the city of Nampula. Therefore, the people of Nampula who love us so much, Engineer Venancio has been making his grand appearances in the city of Nacala. This time, we'll prioritize the city of Ambula to host the first agreement of the fastest growing and most inclusive party in Mozambique. So, stay tuned for this special occasion. But we also had a moment of great, and profound meaning, we might say patriotic and historic, in relation to the entire process that guided the birth of this party, which is our heroes. Therefore, several honorary titles were distributed. Let's highlight some, such as the honorary title given to Gloria Nober, who received the title of heroine, right? For the fight for freedoms and justice, right? Well, as is well known, she was our financial representative, the third person to be detained, and she paid a very high price, about 6 months of imprisonment, because there was persecution against our political movement. But also, posthumously, Manu Chodas, for example, also received the same honorary title. Elvino Diaz also received an honorary title, and even Arlindo Exel, as you may know, remains missing to this day, and we deduce that he is no longer with us. That's why we sent this diploma of merit, this honorary title, to him as well. Besides him, other people also received various titles. So, this is what we can say about this event that took place on the 20th, 21st, and 22nd of this month of September 2025. Therefore, it was an event that had over 300 people in attendance. We're talking about guests and delegates for the first day, and about 150 to 200 people representing guests and delegates alone, without the guests from civil society and so on. Therefore, we held a unique meeting at a very tight time, which is even why we faced the financial setbacks we faced. Therefore, we are immensely grateful for this moment. In fact, we take this opportunity to give a special thanks, right? To the various entities that supported us, which made this event possible. Without them, we wouldn't have been able to do it. Several individuals, business people, and the Mozambican people who believed that this was a party that came to resolve what is called the absence of a state perpetrated by the regime currently in charge of the country, found, in this Anamola, the answer to the various social, economic, political, and cultural concerns that exist and supported them in various ways, financially, materially, and even with ideas. Therefore, we want to thank this audience and hope that, once it's launched, we will achieve this goal of reaching an agreement in June 2026 so that we can continue our journey together. So, thank you very much to everyone who listened. We hope you have a great Tuesday, a great June, and a great 2025. A hug, a kiss, and goodbye.